Ivan Barbashev scores twice in VGK's 5-1 win over the New York Rangers. We recap the game next on this WTF edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. You could find us wherever you get your podcast, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Locked On Golden Knights. We are brought to you today by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app. Make sure that you do so. Get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. Bruce Cassidy, Chris, wanted his team or remnants thereof of VGK to get better starts, right, in games. And he said that this past week. And the Golden Knights, they responded well, I felt. They did so. Jonathan Marchessault with the opening goal. And then we saw Barbashev scoring a goal as well. Then the second period, we saw Barbashev with his Rockettes imitation there, kicking for the Rangers, of course, kicking the puck in net.
Rockettes imitation? Oh, God. Come on.
And then,
come on.
And Colasar even got into the scoring column. A nice tip, just those two goals in the second, 25 seconds apart. And then that former Ranger great Brett Howden scored on the empty netter late. Good performance overall by the VGK. Rangers looked tired. They looked as though they were Vegas flued. And this had to be a guilty game, perhaps. What did you think of the game last night?
You mentioned guilty game. Paul Cotter and Jonathan Quick were out last night, Wednesday, and Paul Cotter mentioned, well, forgot how this broke or who broke it, but Paul Cotter picked up Quick's tab the other night, so I don't know what that meant for the rest of the team. As far as a couple things, I did say pregame, I said in my Vegas Hockey Now article, and I tweeted it out, I was concerned about the Rangers from a fatigue perspective. Golden Knights going to the East Coast, first game on the road trip, it's tough. It's tough moving 3 time zones. It's tough moving up your day 3 hours to play professional hockey against the greatest players in the world. That's what happened with the Rangers last night. Golden Knights down 6 starters. I mean, we're going to give all the credit to the Golden Knights for the game that was played and Logan Thompson early on, what he accomplished. But there are factors, as there are in every National Hockey League game, outside of the skill on the ice, and the Golden Knights were able to take advantage there. So good on the Golden Knights for doing so. They weathered that early storm for about 8 to 10 minutes when the Rangers just wouldn't let go of the puck. It looked like they were on a power play, but the Golden Knights kept it to the outside. Logan Thompson kept it together. And I think for me about this game, the Golden Knights defense was staying back. It was bend, don't break. Coach Cassidy did a remarkable job taking the tools that he had and realizing the situation and found a way to grind out a tough victory where the Golden Knights were plus 120 at home.
I'm sure you got a piece of that too.
No, I haven't made a bet in a while. I haven't cared to.
Here's my thoughts on Logan Thompson on why he's playing better. I feel as though he wants to be the man in net, and now Adin Hill is coming back. I think that's something that we need to watch out for. He's battling for time now, as Adin Hill was back on the ice yesterday, but Thompson, 29 saves in the contest last night.
I put a tweet out there I'm trying to get to. Here we go. Okay, so
did I steal that from you?
No, not really. I mean, okay. when Adin Hill returns, how should the starts be divided up? I put this out during the game last night, so I think there's going to be maybe a little bit of a bias right there, but 24% said more starts for Hill, 62% said 50-50, and 14% said more starts for Thompson, which I'm fine with the split here. But I don't know if maybe prior to Aiden's injury, anyone would have said the starts should be chopped up 50-50 at a 60% clip. You got to give Logan a ton of credit right now. He is just battling, and he is battling well. And this is the Logan Thompson we know from the start of last season. This is the Logan Thompson we know from dating back to the end of season 5, where the team fell short of the playoffs. Sorry, I hate doing that. Wrote an article yesterday, the path to the playoffs and everything on Vegas Hockey Now, and how many points the team needs prior to the trade deadline, and then for that last rush and everything. But if Logan can keep on doing this, and then if Aiden Hill can contribute as well, I'm saying it like Logan's a starter all of a sudden, but if both goalies can keep this going right now, the Golden Knights will weather this injury storm just fine. And it's a tough injury storm. Mike Amadio, a surprise scratch, I guess. It was announced early in the day, but just something else. It's I guess there shouldn't be any surprise scratches anymore. But Mike Amadio out for last night. Sheldon Rempel draws in his place, got 4 goals with the Silver Knights the day before the Rangers game. And he did have a dynamite grade A chance that Brett Howden set up for him. And I was hoping to see Sheldon get it. He's such a fun guy to watch down Henderson on a regular basis. And it would have been nice. But yeah, it's a good game last night. It's a really good game.
Yeah, Rempal had a very good game. That line was buzzing with Howden and Brissot. Yeah, at times, no. What I liked about
at times, yes. My bigger concerns though is, and it wasn't just their line, but they were on their heels defensively a lot. Ben don't break though, and they bent, but they didn't break. Brisson got friggin' hammered in the first period though. Brisson got a good welcome to the NHL by somebody on the Rangers. I was concerned about that line. I was concerned that Laviette was going to make sure he had Kreider and Panarin and all the high end Zibanejad had all the high end players from the Rangers out there against him, and I think he tried, but it's going to be assuming the rosters are the same. It's going to be a different game in New York. It's not going to be. I mean, listen, if Vegas finds a way to go 5-1 again, great, but that's not how it's going to go down in New York.
That was a lackluster game for my New York Rangers. What surprised me the most was net front presence for VGK. I think they did a good job there as Barbashev attacked, of course, in front of the net, and then the deflection there by Kolasar. I thought they did a good job.
It was rush scoring. The Golden Knights' rush scoring is returning, and you didn't see that going back to the Winter Classic against Seattle, against Calgary Flames. Chris, I said Calgary in the car last night, and I didn't space it out enough, and Chris even yelled at me again last night in the car. So this is reality, not just TV, folks. But back to the rush scoring. The Golden Knights are a rush team. They thrive on opportunities. They thrive on their speed. And when they're getting the rush opportunities, not just from the top 2 lines, whatever the heck the top 2 lines are now these days, but when the third line and the fourth line is getting those rush chances too, that certainly says something. And you'd be remiss if you didn't get this far and acknowledge the fact that the Golden Knights had this in them, down 6 regular starters, most notably Carlson, Eichel, and Theodore right now, and obviously Aiden Hill too. So, this should be some encouragement as the Golden Knights are now in the second half of the season officially, and the games just matter so much more.
Yeah. Do you chalk this up, because I do, to just really good coaching on the part of Bruce Cassidy and VGK? I thought he did a good job to game plan against the Rangers. And the Rangers, again, they weren't themselves. I don't know what was going on. It's just Sturkin. He's taken a couple of steps back. We told you, oh, no, that's right. They couldn't hear our stats that we mentioned yesterday because we weren't on the air.
Yeah, that was my
As
bad.
we told you yesterday that only Chris and I heard.
Yeah, just trust us. It happened, bro. No, I mean, the Rangers, listen, Shesterkin was fine. Like, he wasn't bad. Just it was a lot of great chances by the Golden Knights. Back to Cassidy, I'm 1,000% with you. Cassidy is using the tools that he has, and he's coming up with a game plan that is allowing the Golden Knights to weather these storms that these teams have. I mean, the Rangers looked really good for like the first 8 to 12 minutes each period, and then they got tired. And I think that's where the travel and not having that extra day off from traveling across the country, which the Golden Knights have been in that same spot, going from west to east. It's just a tough spot for any teams to adjust to. And Cassidy, I think, is okay with sacrificing offensive zone time and puck possession. Bend don't break. And the Golden Knights defense did break a little bit last night. That's where Logan Thompson did his job, and Cassidy certainly gave Logan his flowers in the post game, which is good. And back to your point early, Tony, I am with you. Hill is breathing down his neck again right now. I don't think it'll be as early as Saturday for Aiden Hill to make his return, although the Golden Knights tend to prefer to get someone their injury start at a home game, so it could possibly happen. Aiden's been out there practicing, but I think it's more likely the two goalies chop up both of the games on the road trip, hopefully make it into the All-Star break nice and good, and then after the All-Star break, let's see if this team can shift up to about they're in about first gear right now. They can get up to about third gear come after the All-Star break. I think these troubles will be forgotten pretty quickly.
Coming up next, we've got a preview of Saturday's VGK versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Reilly Smith's return? Not really. We'll talk about it next, right here on Locked On Golden Knights. The NFL postseason is here, and there is still time to get into the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. You could find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub. It's the best way to find popular parlays and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make it your first bet here, and the first bet a layup. Welcome back, Locked On Golden Knights. It says that in the copy. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We combine football and basketball, of course, as only FanDuel can do. And thanks again for making us your first listen. Today's WTF with the Friday, tomorrow on tap, the Chris and Chris show. Good thing. Do not make any references to Cal, 2001, 2002. Gary, do not on the show, because little Chris will lose his mind again. Or you want him to. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Wherever he wants to go with the show. We script our show as much as you and I script
as much as we script it. That's right. So the Pittsburgh Penguins visit T-Mobile Arena on Saturday night. This has been a very inconsistent Pittsburgh team, to say the least. Pretty much VGK, if they just shut down, I believe, Sidney Crosby and Jake Gunsel, they have a good chance of winning. Erik Karlsson, he's been okay. I mean, he's not spectacular. He's not the player they thought that they would get from San Jose. He's got 31 points. And Reilly Smith, I think, here's my opinion, Chris, and it's not going to be a popular one. I think the VGK let him go at the right time. He was struggling a little bit before he wound up going on the injured list, upper body versus Vancouver. Nikita Zadorov hit him, I guess, and knocked him out of the lineup. And so he was demoted before the injury, down to the third line with, who is he with? Evgeny Malkin, right? On that line. I don't think
Malkin will be on the third line. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know.
They bounced him down to the third. They did. So yeah. So it was Reilly Smith on the third line with Malkin. In any event, that's my opinion. So I don't know. Go ahead. Fire away.
No, I mean, Reilly Smith, I think the first thing I'll start with, you mentioned the points and the output. He's on pace. Obviously, he's injured right now, but his pace was 40 points. His pace was 41 points, which would be a little bit lower than where he has been. 56 points last season. The COVID year, 38 points, which adjusts to about 50 points. So, I mean, he's right around a 50, 60 point a game or a season player, assuming he gets 82 games. So definitely not adjusting well. The biggest thing that I get when I look at the Penguin stats and Reilly Smith is the fact that Smith is a -1. Okay, fine. Now let's look at the rest of the team, though. Gensel's +12. Crosby's +19.
19, right?
Other forwards, Brian Rust is +14. So that tells me Reilly Smith is a two-way player, and he's a good two-way player. At least in Vegas, he was a really good two-way player. Now, there's other things. There's system. There's line mates. He being Reilly Smith obviously had very consistent line mates for a very long time in Vegas. So this all plays in to Reilly's, I don't know if struggles is the word, but maybe that's the easiest way to explain it. You mentioned that the Golden Knights were able to make a deal with Reilly at the right time. And listen, you'd rather be, shout out to Chris Condos, who always comments on our shows and we talk afterwards, but you'd always rather be a year early on parting ways with a player versus a year late. If Reilly would have had a stellar year, fine, good for him. But the following year, he probably wouldn't have. It's just what happens. Players get older, things happen. It's just nature of the game. And Barbashev is 5-6 years younger. And, Barbashev hasn't been the most consistent member of the Golden Knights, but he's there when the team needs him, looking obviously at last night's game. Barbashev has 21 points in 45 games. So technically, Reilly Smith is actually performing at a better point per game clip. But I think Barbashev's impact, especially right now with so many players out, is of greater importance. Not to say Reilly wouldn't have been important if it was, a similar situation, but Barbashev is more dynamic, I think, is where I will leave that for right now.
Yeah. And no, Barbashev is the money guy because he's at the time of the playoffs. That's when I think he rises to the occasion. I think he's a clutch player when it counts, when it really does matter. And he's proven it to us last season.
No doubt.
And Mike Sullivan, the head coach of the Penguins, he's having a difficult time. This past week, they shuffled their defensemen around. He made some lineup changes and they moved some players around. And so defensively, here is a Penguins team as well, Chris, that is struggling.
You mentioned Erik Karlsson earlier, and maybe they're not getting what they thought when you looked at what happened in San Jose. A couple things. One, San Jose is hot garbage. They have some players that were decent, but Erik Karlsson certainly is the top of the talent cut line, where you have Sidney Crosby, you have on the defensive side Chris Letang, and all these other players who are world-class players with a good cast of supporting players. Sharks have a few really good players. Tomas Hertl just comes to mind, obviously, and a few others. But that's where it ends, unfortunately, for San Jose, and it's going to look like that for a long, long time. Going back to Erik Karlsson, he's a plus 10. He's got 31 points and a plus 10, pacing for somewhere in the 60-point range. So while this isn't the player maybe from a points output they were hoping for, this shows me that Karlsson's defensive game is maybe better than I've given credit for. I was always joking, especially going back to when the Sharks were valid in the NHL as far as, being a playoff team. I was happy when Burns and Karlsson were on the ice together because you knew there was a good chance there was a tick in the minus column coming. And maybe this is a different version of Karlsson. One thing I do love watching about Karlsson, and I'm glad I'll be back upstairs in the press box to get a better view of it, is watching how he holds the blue line. It is just a work of art watching him manage the blue line on the offensive side, keeping the puck in play and stuff like that. I'll try and get some video of it so I can show. But it's just a lot of fun watching him play. I know he's a former Shark, and Golden Knight fans don't think too highly of those things. But, yeah, I do wonder if Reilly Smith will be in the building. I did see – I have no direct knowledge or nothing on the media side, but I saw people mentioning he's supposed to be traveling. I don't know. I got a good guy I can contact and find out possibly. So we'll see if Reilly Smith is in town. I hope he's in town. I hope he gets his moments on the Nitron and everything, and gets a long tribute because he might get that pregame 5-minute tribute, kind of like what they've done for Fleury in the past and stuff like that. What Reilly meant to this community, Reilly Smith is the type of player that not just hockey player, but every Las Vegas athlete should measure themselves up to as far as what they do for the community. He's a pillar for the community. Just loves Vegas, and I don't see Reilly Smith living anywhere else. He's probably going to stay here he probably stays here in the offseason for all I know still. But every Vegas athlete should measure themselves up to what Reilly Smith did for this community.
What about Tristan Jerry?
He doesn't do a lot for Vegas. Oh.
No,
I thought we were talking about how he does the Vegas.
He might gift because it's rigged. He might gift VGK with a win.
I mean, maybe Smith will juice him a little bit for that. I mean, listen, Tristan Jarry's fine. He's 12-12-4, 248 goals against, fine, whatever. 916 save percentage, fine, whatever. And it looks like Nedeljkovic, the backup, 266 goals against, 916 save percentage. So these goalies are basically a shadow of themselves from a statistics perspective. They're doing what the Pittsburgh Penguins goaltending needs to do. Bend, don't break. Talk about that a lot lately on the show. The Penguins should at least be a little higher octane team as far as scoring goes, which leads to some higher events hockey, which certainly could end up, causing a greater goals against situation. Let's see here. Pittsburgh Penguins, from a goals for perspective. Wow, I got to scroll down pretty low. Goals for, there, it looks like they're on the top of the bottom third of the league at 129. They've given up 113 goals, which, okay, so they're third in goals given up. So that's certainly, that kind of proves my point right there, I guess. So they're third in, they must not be giving up a lot of shots then? Because that's just strange seeing the lower save percentages, but they've given up the third fewest amount of goals against. So that begs the question back to Reilly Smith. How is Reilly Smith a -1 on the team that's given up the third fewest goals against? There's something with Reilly Smith's game. Either his game is not adjusting to Mike Sullivan's system, or Smith is having a hard time adjusting, or Mike Sullivan isn't putting him out there with the right players. But there's something with where Reilly Smith is just not gelling. I mean, hey, just trade back to Vegas. Get him back to Vegas. Rental.
Yeah, a rental for the rest of this year. And, Sullivan did say that they're missing a big piece there of their team there in Pittsburgh with Smith out. And Smith, of course, just a good guy to have around and a leader, definitely a leader. Coming up next, the much anticipated time of the week with WTF. Don't miss it. Stay right where you're at right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Regardless of where the VGK is in the current standings, we want to remind you that you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper. It's the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our #1 choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contest. What players would you like to take this week to win 100 times your money? Well, I'm going to put my money again on Nikita Kucherov, 75 points now. Nathan McKinnon, 73. Connor McDavid, that guy, they won 11 games in a row? I think the streak's still continuing. 59 points for Connor McDavid currently. And so just check it out, and you will more or less have to be better than Sleeper's projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and much, much more in a given game. To win 100 times your bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. And you heard us, VGK fans. You can win 100 times your money by playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks, and do so by, you can win. Again, sorry, text going off here early in the morning. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use. Welcome back. Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. We appreciate you doing so. And Chris, it is that time of the week. It should be a lot of fun with WTF. Okay. I'm getting pictures of someone's tough shed. Just throwing this out there.
Want me to start?
No, WTF. I want to do Super Bowl art from a European number. I want to do Super Bowl art. Like I'm in charge of that. I think, you know what? I think I'll hire this guy or lady, whoever this is.
WTF, Tony checking a text message during WTF.
Why not? Go ahead. You can start. I don't have much today.
Just did some math really fast, actually. So WTF Logan Thompson. Stop bashing and stop saying anything negative about Logan, guys. In his last 5 games, do you know what Logan Thompson's save percentage is? 0.957. 0.957. That's pretty good. So WTF positive Logan Thompson for elevating his game and leading this team through possibly the darkest injury moment that they've had, even going back to season 5. So positive WTF Logan Thompson is en fuego.
WTF, what's up with this dog? What's up with, he was on the poster last night, and he can't be a canine because he's not ripping off like Coach Cassidy's arm or anything. So they put him.
I think it's a canine. It's a canine in training. To be fair,
okay. It's going to be one of those drug sniffing dogs, so they can also put him on the payroll, right, and have him at the entrance to T-Mobile. Canine Dasco would have just, I don't know. Canine Dasco was the best dog. I don't even know if he's still around. But yeah, I've got a canine named after me. Isn't that cool? No,
Yeah.
it's not gold. WTF.
Rigged. The dog's name is Rigged.
WTF
Your dog,
from
not Maverick. Your dog.
that's an Maverick at Witwit 11. And where is Goldie? Where's the goldfish, man? People suggesting on the feed that I don't want to say it. Should I go there? That Maverick ate Goldie.
Did you see what Alex Pietrangelo said when they asked him about Goldie?
No.
Pietrangelo had no idea the team had a fish.
Who asked it? Somebody asked him in the presser.
I don't know, but to be fair, that's a question.
It's by popular demand because we're the ones that want to know.
To be fair, I would have, if I would have gone to a practice, I probably would have been the one to drop that. So honestly, I'm yeah. I think Danny Webster put it out there. I don't.
Yeah, this is close to being on Dateline, the disappearance of Goldie.
It really is. I think they even had like a Twitter handle and just said gulp a few times, and yeah, that was flush that one down the drain.
Okay,
another positive WTF. New York Ranger fans traveled very, very well. Chris loves going down on the glass for warmups. I love being down there too, obviously. On the Rangers side, as Chris was showing his support for his second favorite team, New York Rangers, last night, he was leading the "Let's Go Rangers" chants, just having a blast. But we were right in the thick of the things with the Ranger fans, and just great, positive, just stacking the glass and everything. Positive. They were very happy to be in Vegas. I enjoyed being around the Ranger fans last night. Not that I didn't in the past, but they traveled really well. And the sub WTF for the interaction that the players had with the Ranger fans lining the glass. Like you see some of these teams when they come and they interact with their road fans a little bit, but it's a lot more business, right? They're there to get ready for a hockey game. Panarin probably shot 10 pucks over the glass himself. Zibanejad shooting pucks over the glass. Just the interactions were there.
How many pucks did Pietrangelo hit over the glass? No, sorry. Delay a game.
Pietrangelo can't stop. He can't. Well, neutral zone, Pietrangelo's got bigger problems. But no, going back to the Ranger fans, just very positive. Loved how the Ranger players interacted with the fans, and just a great environment. It was really a good environment on that side of the ice. Had a lot of fun. Obviously, the result wasn't what a lot of those Ranger fans had hoped for. I was okay with that too, obviously. So positive WTF for the Ranger fans. And then same thing, I guess. Listen, Maverick, cute, cuddly, loves belly rubs, fine, whatever, good for him. But
too much.
Goldie won a Stanley Cup. Mike
Trout. Absolutely. I'm with you, dog. At Witwit,
the dog is cute. The dog is cute. Fine.
At Witwit 11.
They need a cat. They need a team cat, Tony. They need a team cat now. I'll start that charge.
Witwit 11 said, seriously? Locked On VGK is day to day as well. Totally tracks with the team at this moment.
Yeah, no. Our next show will be March. Will be in March then, if we're going to track with the team, if we're day to day.
At Tyler Hillman 14, WTF is with this injury stuff every year. It seems this team is made of glass bones and paper skin. Sometimes, only kidding, but wow, they really are.
Listen, it's fair, and this is a product of the team that Kelly McCrimmon put together, and this is going to happen. It's a high risk roster, but there's a Stanley Cup, so it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, just rest on those laurels. At MACNV, 5 Knights players that haven't missed time. Vegas born, #WTF. No comments.
Was that no? Were you asking me who the players were that haven't missed any games?
No,
there's not many.
No.
I think Mark Stone, Braden. There's not too many.
Mark Stone,
but Mark Stone is leading the charge. WTF positive, healthy Mark Stone.
Yeah, I said he'd play half the games. What the heck did I know?
Well, to be fair, he doesn't miss one game at a time. He misses them all if it happens. And I hope you're wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I put him at 50 games. I said if he plays 50 games, that's good. So hopefully we're both wrong on this one. The team needs their captain dearly right now.
WTF, as you heard on yesterday's show, I picked Ivan Barbashev as one of my locks of the night. That's right.
WTF, you're lying. There was no show yesterday.
There was no show. Day to day. We were day to day.
WTF, I'm the only one that picked the Golden Knights to win, and I was right.
Okay. Who did your wife pick last night as the locks of the night?
So Allie's been day to day with not caring about doing picks injury. So Amanda's been filling in a little bit, and she's like, I don't know who's healthy anymore. They're all not healthy anymore. So we're going with Maverick and Chance.
Maverick and Chance. At TA_Neiman. I like this one. A WTF? Like, why do they never show us the welcome back videos they do for players? I assume they did one for Quick, but they don't show us on the nighttime app. WTF?
That's unfortunate. I know like the Fleury one they showed, but we're going way back before nighttime app was a thing. But Fleury's, to be fair, was before the puck drop instead of during intermission. I don't know. That's unfortunate because that is a part, in a serious note, that's a part of the history of the team. And I still go back. I mean, okay, my last WTF, and I'm done. I just watched Jonathan Quick get a standing ovation in a welcome back video in Vegas for his part in helping the Golden Knights win a Stanley Cup. What planet am I living on as a hockey fan? I just there's no one who had this on their bingo card prior to last season. It is, and that's what makes sports great, right? Just the stories that come out and stuff. And so yeah, I mean, I still look at that as one of my number one takeaways outside of sharing the experience of watching a Stanley Cup with my son Christopher, but watching Alec Martinez hand the Stanley Cup to Jonathan Quick, both wearing Golden Knight jerseys. So sports are great, and that's a reason as to why right there.
WTF? This is from @eruns. What Vancouver is doing isn't sustainable. Is it?
I mean, they made it 44 or 45 games with, I mean, why can't they sustain it? They got a great goalie. They got a great defense. They got a pretty darn good coach. So why can't they sustain this? Why not? Winnipeg, that's the story right now. WTF, Connor Hellebuyck and the Winnipeg Jets, like 30 of 31 or 32 games, giving up 2 goals or less.
And they're on a
there's your Stanley
currently.
Cup favorite right now. That's your Stanley Cup favorite.
Would you
just
bet
with those
them?
stats alone.
Absolutely. They own the Jets. Come on.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm simply looking at this team defense and goaltending right now. That's it.
Okay, I've got a WTF. So I didn't know that you change cities when you go all the way up to the northern part of the city. Went to an Arbor View high school game last night. Shameless plug. I'm doing the Big City Showdown. I'll be broadcasting 3 games coming up tomorrow, high school basketball. So I went up to Arbor View, a little pre-scouting up there. And I go on the app. So I'm watching hoops. The game's out of control. It was 17-0 from the jump for Arbor View. And so I start to watch, trying to watch the game. And I couldn't connect because it asked if I was like in a different time zone. All these questions. Would you like to change like your home city? Like I'm still in the city. I'm still in the city with this stinking app. I'm not sold on the app. I'm down on the app. It like 2 or 3 times. Like we were watching in the press room at a UNLV basketball
watching the
game.
hockey game on nighttime. Got it. Now I understand.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. But so we're watching one of the games at the Thomas and Mack. I've got a bunch of media people hanging around and we're watching it. And there was like I forgot what game, 2 or 3 minutes to go in the contest. And what happens? It buffers on me. And then it comes back and the Golden Knights score the winning goal. It is so rigged. This is the most rigged app in the National Hockey League.
Al Connor, I've never had problems with nighttime. I'm lucky. Maybe it's because I'm
when you
using
go
a
from
hard
one
line
part of the
connection.
city. Would you like
know.
to be in another country? Like, never mind. Okay, I'm getting back to my text messages. We appreciate everyone tuning in.
If you never stopped around, your text message. You did the whole show.
Okay, let me go back here. Do you have? What kind of art should I have this guy do from I don't know where? There's just a foreign number. I have no idea who it is, but I'll be conversing later. We appreciate everyone tuning in. I'll be on the Bald Dogs. It'll be on the YouTube channel tomorrow and other YouTube channels around the universe. And you don't guess what? You don't have to change your country or your city to watch it because we'll be on YouTube. It's a Big City Showdown coming up tomorrow. Chris and Chris will be on the airwaves on our YouTube channel, Locked On Golden Knights. We appreciate everyone's comments on WTF, and we'll see you again next week. Should I wrap this baby up? Yep.
Yeah, before I lose my internet again.
For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Take care.